Hey friends, welcome back to Artists of the Way. I'm John.
I'm Nate.
And you're about to get a second intro in a second because guess what?
What?
We are making the first episode of our book club publicly available for you guys, so you can hear what it's all about.
The Patreon Book Club.
Patreon Book
Only
Club.
people with lots of money, like
$3 or $5 a month
yeah,
can afford to be a part of.
which might not be you lazy bum.
Wow, jeez. Make a real judgment call. What if they were just laid off? How would you feel then?
I would feel badly for them.
Good.
I would be willing to donate to them
All right. If you've
the-
been laid
for the
off,
book
comment
club.
in below and Nate will pay for your Patreon.
for your membership.
Yes. But yes, so if you've missed it somehow, we have our Patreon going. And one of the key things we're doing is this book club. So we are reading this book, Out of the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis, the first book in the Space Trilogy.
Ransom Trilogy.
The Space Trilogy, as it is
Called by most.
most,
But
including
not by
the publisher.
The publisher knows
And in
nothing.
theory, the writer. But yes, we are reading, it's every other week. We're reading 4 chapters at a time. This one will be about 5 episodes. When you're in the Patreon, you will have the opportunity to give us your thoughts before we record the episode, and we will include those in the episode.
Yeah.
We didn't get any thoughts this time, but next time,
Just
baby.
ours.
In the words of Rhodey, the first Rhodey who got recast, so this worked out really well. Next time, baby. But yes.
That's an Iron Man 1 reference for those.
Indeed. We just watched that the other day.
Nice.
It was
It's
really
fresh
fun.
on your mind.
It is.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's one of the best.
I like it. But yes. Yeah, so we'll be back with a regular episode in a couple weeks. For now, I mean, there will be an episode next week. It will just probably be a guest episode.
Yes, but after this, on the podcast, there's no more
No more book club.
book club unless you come to the Patreon. That's a bonus podcast practically.
Yep.
It's gonna be-
$3 or $5 a month.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get half an hour of us chatting about a book and basically get to chat about the book with us because we will be in the comments talking with you guys.
Yeah.
You will be sending them in. We'll be reading them live for everybody.
In my live, we mean we will be alive while reading it.
Correct. But yes, without further ado, here's the second intro
Welcome.
to the Artists of the Way Book Club.
The first one.
Yeah, I'm John,
I'm Nate.
and we're reading a book together, guys.
And let's tell you about this book that we're all reading together.
Yeah.
With a little summary.
Yeah, what
Shall
did we read this past couple weeks? Or really week because I gave you guys short notice. But in the future, it will be it'll be 2 weeks.
This will tell them what we're reading right here.
All right.
A man wakes up and goes through the frightful discovery that he has been launched into space against his will. Along the way, he learns that space is beautiful. He meets an alien, learns how to speak with him, and eventually saves humanity.
Whoa.
That's right, folks. We are reading Project Hail Mary
Whoa!
and the book club. Or
I've been bamboozled.
John has been bamboozled. So it's actually, these are just... We're reading Out of the Silent Planet, which has all of these things in common
I
with
have
Project
to say,
Hail
your
Mary.
first 4 chapters had a lot more going on than my first 4 chapters. We didn't meet an alien. We didn't save the human race.
Well, it's the intro to the book. To the book.
I picked that up, but for a second I was like, I did not read this far.
You just blink over the alien part.
I didn't realize we'd won already.
And the saving humanity part is arguably like in other books in the trilogy, because this is Out of the Silent Planet, the first book in the Ransom trilogy, or as some call it, the Space trilogy. But
Yeah.
that's for the uninitiated.
Well, all right then.
And in the next episode, John will learn why the initiated do not call it the Space trilogy.
All right.
Yes.
Cool. Yes, so I've not read these before. Nate has. I've known of them and been like, Lewis did a sci-fi book, fascinating. But this was a fun couple chapter listen.
Yep.
So do you wanna
Sure,
give
we're
your
covering the
thoughts
first 4 chapters.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to
I will
have
say
you, my great friend, finally reading maybe my favorite series, one of my favorite series.
you talk about it a lot, so
I think it's a favorite series. Maybe my favorite
it
series.
could be. Chew
Yeah.
on that and let us know by the end.
Whew.
I will also throw out there, we didn't get any this week, but people in our Patreon, you guys can be reading along, which I hope you are. Throw your comments in. I'm gonna try and do a post giving about a week before we record another book club episode. Throw in your comments on the 4 chapters that we read, and we'll read off some of those comments on the book club.
Yep, we're kind of doing it 4 chapter chunks.
Yep,
the
so it
first
should be
one
about
is just
5
like
episodes.
31 pages for the first 4 chapters.
Yeah.
That's very reasonable.
It was funny because I was listening to the one that I found that had the best narrator was actually a BBC production. It's just one narrator. It is unabridged, so it is the whole thing, but it doesn't break it up into chapters for me.
Really?
So I also had to borrow the book on my phone and like
funny.
swipe and be like, okay, where's the end of chapter 4? Okay, this is the last sentence. I need to listen to that while I put things away at
Funny.
work. So I was listening for when does he say this thing, and then I heard it and I was like, aha, I've reached my goal.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, I will say that it was really good getting back into this book. It's been some years since I've read it. And I think I've come to think that this is my least favorite of the 3, but reading it again reminds me like, I love this book. It's so like least favorite of 3. I love it.
That's great.
It's great. I think I'm feeling more richness, from another read. That's how it's been with this series for me. Just the more you read it, the more richness you get out of it.
That's great.
I found it really interesting the first sentence, how it sets up our character of who is our star of this series. Would you mind if I read it?
Yeah, go for it.
The last drops of the thunder shower had hardly ceased falling when the pedestrian stuffed his map into his pocket, settled his pack more comfortably on his tired shoulders, and stepped out from the shelter of a large chestnut tree into the middle of the road. And it's just like, that's the way we start a sci-fi novel, apparently. But it talks about the man who's right now is not given the name. He's just the pedestrian. Pedestrian is capitalized.
Yeah.
And I think there's significance to that we're kind of telling you a little bit about this person, who this person is, before we really tell you even who he is.
Yeah.
Pedestrian capitalized, that kind of brings to mind like pilgrim to me. We find out that this man is a believer.
Yeah.
And so we know he is a pilgrim through this world, but we found out like in at least where he is right now, he's doing a walking tour across England.
Which, the dream. If anybody wants to pay for me to go on a walking tour through England.
Such the dream. And later he encounters some characters who turn out to be the villains. And one asks him, so like, why are you doing this? Is it for like education, or just because like you hate yourself, basically?
He's like, no, it's because I can just get away from everything. I don't
for
have to
pleasure.
Clearly,
for
I
pleasure.
can just enjoy walking, and nobody can find me.
Yep.
What are they going to do? Well, he was last seen in some town somewhere.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't be such a fool to leave a forwarding address so anyone could find me.
Right.
And I think that's just beautiful. Walking for pleasure, not to get something out of it, not even for the exercise, just for like the pleasure of itself, which is, I think, something that Christians should think more about doing. That just do things for the pleasure of itself, not some end that you can get out of it, because it's the world and life that God made for us, and it's good.
Yeah, and looking at the storytelling craft, I think it's really important to ground your readers when you're reading fantasy or sci-fi. Got to ground them in something familiar, ground them in something that they care about.
Yeah.
And right here we've got, it's what the character stands to lose, and what this character stands to lose is just beauty and joy.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And it was very cozy. It was a very cozy read.
Yeah. And I think back to like that, like being called the pedestrian, we find out later that he's going to get kidnapped and taken to another planet. That if that's not a pedestrian, what
was it? Malacandra,
which is actually the real word for Mars.
That was what I was guessing, which hasn't technically been.
Technically hasn't said
Which
that
I thought
yet.
that was such a fun setup of like,
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you which planet it is. You got to guess.
Yes.
I thought
Yes.
that was neat.
I also loved just how this kind of talks about the character of the man. The opening sentence: "The rain hardly ceased falling when he stuffed the map into his pocket, settled his pack more comfortably on his
yeah.
tired shoulders, and stepped out of the shelter." Like, this is a man who knows what the right thing is to do, and he does it. As we see later, he doesn't always revel in doing it.
That was one of the couple
he
notes
does it.
that I put down, which is just reminded me, like, I talk about Tolkien a lot, but I do love Lewis, and I think I don't talk about Lewis as much because his writing is plainer, I think, but it is still as rich. I don't mean that it lacks substance, but it is just, I feel like he's a bit more matter of fact.
Right.
And he's just...
Tolkien's a little bit more giving you a wash.
Yeah. But I think Lewis is always just as profound, just in some simpler ways. Tolkien can certainly be simple too with hobbits, but I'm going to stop talking about Tolkien because that's not why we're here. But I just, as soon as we got to that point, I was like, man, I've been there, where I'm like, well, I'm going to do the right thing because it's what I'm supposed to do and I'm a good person, but it's your fault that I have to do it, and it's really frustrating, and I am going to be mad at you, and I'm going to resent you a little bit, and I really hope that you just magically can tell that I'm not happy about this and tell me I don't have to do it. And then I won't, except I probably will, and still hold it against you. Anyways, but... You know, it's just like,
and that's
what a perfectly human thing.
It's so human, but that's the hero of the story. That's the good guy. And it's like, yeah, this is a good guy. And like, I think you're kind of referring to the part where he comes across a stranger lady who's like kind of freaked out because her simple-minded son hasn't returned for his job at this large house. And Lewis is like, I should go look for that boy. But right after that thought was the thought of, oh, these guys are professors who live at this house, and maybe they'll give me a place to stay as I'm like really far from a hotel or whatever. Yeah. And it was like, but it was still, the first thought was still the good thought.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of a selfish thought after that, but
there's a little tug of war.
Right, but it's like, but the good is still there.
Yeah.
And I like that. We, like us, when we're in Christ, we are good in a sense, you know. God has his spirit in us, and we have a lot of the flesh still in us, but that doesn't mean that there's not actual good.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we didn't do like a full summary of what happens.
That's okay.
In the
Hopefully
chapters.
you guys will have read along.
Right.
You could also look up like the Spark Notes or something, I guess, if you don't want to read.
Yeah, we can in short say he meets a lady. He goes and looks for this lady's son. He doesn't know how to get in. There's a big hedge, and so he just takes his pack and throws it over. And it's like, oh, now I have to go in at least because I got to go get my pack at least. And I love that too, like just doing the momentary thing that requires you to do the right thing the next moment. And he meets these guys, and they look like they're kind of kidnapping this kid.
He's like, I don't want to go in there. And they're like, too bad, Buster. You're going to go,
and
mustache
I love the
twirl.
moment where he's like coming up on them, and he wanted to say something kind of intimidating. Hey, get your hands off that man. But he just managed to say, hey, what are you doing?
Once again, something I related with.
Yes, like we all imagine being very impressive. But then it's just like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah.
And basically, that we find out this man's name is Ransom, and right away that name is apropos because he is essentially the ransom for this boy. Yeah. Because the boy gets sent home, and Lewis is drugged and kidnapped and put ransom. He's just kind of essentially
This is a true
Lewis.
Story by Lewis. Yeah.
I feel like Lewis probably put a lot of himself into Ransom, but he gets drugged and kidnapped, and he wakes up, and he, like in Project Hail Mary, he does not know where he is.
I haven't seen Project Hail Mary yet,
so
don't draw too many parallels.
Yeah,
don't draw too many parallels for me.
That's right. Well,
because I know like next to nothing.
Okay, yeah,
you're good.
Well, Ransom just gets freaked out when he he looks out, and
And you like can't even tell where he was. You
can't tell where he is.
This was so captivating for me because it's such a different way of thinking of a spaceship and of space.
So different.
And of course, part of that is because we've had more science now, so
Well,
like,
and
we
this
can
is
draw a more accurate picture.
pre anybody leaving the Earth. When Lewis wrote this, he looks out, he thinks he's seeing the moon, but it's like, it's too big, it's too close. What is this?
Yep.
And the bad guy comes in, it's like, that's not the moon, that's
that's
Earth that you're looking at. And at this point in history, no one had ever seen Earth from the outside.
Yeah.
There's no pictures taken of Earth. We just, like, from math and stuff, know that it's round,
Right.
and things. But it's like, it's so interesting that this is written like a couple decades before anyone had seen the Earth.
Yeah.
And so Lewis gets to be in this kind of a cooler space where we haven't actually experienced what space is like, and he gets to like imagine what it's like.
And it was neat because it didn't feel quaint. I think a lot of times older sci-fi novels for me can like it feels like it's stuck in its time period. This did feel like I could see this like his scientific explanations for things. I was like, there's a game I've played called Outer Wilds, which I think you would love and hate, but you would, I think you would, it's a time loop game. So you're trying to save the universe.
You've told me about this.
Yeah. So it's got some depressing elements, but it's also like super cozy and has this weird blend of like sort of a traditional sci-fi vibe with also like different kind of quaint, like your ship is made of wood. Like your spaceship is just like cobbled together with wood, and it's got all these interesting like quantum systems that are different. And this feels to me like that, where it's like, this is new, it's different, it's not something you would think of from sci-fi, but it doesn't feel like you're doing like an H.G. Wells, where it feels like this is only science that could have existed in 1880 something, you know?
Yeah.
Or 1890 something, and that has been very fun for me. Of like, cool, this doesn't feel dated.
Right, he kind of keeps it
different.
like he kind of keeps it vague enough because he doesn't get too much into hard science. Because he like asks like, how does this rocket, the ship even work? And the villain's like, I wouldn't tell you even if you could understand it.
Yeah. But basically, it has its own little Earth's core in it. I was like, what? That's so cool. I thought this ship was so fascinating. That's how I understood it. Of like,
because he says the unexplored properties of solar radiation is how it's powered.
Well, and he talked about there's like a sphere, and then inside there's like another sphere that you can't touch. And it felt to me like, oh, that is like a little mini Earth's core that's inside of this ship. That's why the weird gravity stuff is happening. And that's how it's
that would make
it.
sense, except for they said that the center of the ship is just like for storage.
But maybe it's like a Jules Verne journey to the center of the Earth type Earth core.
Oh. Yeah, because so we can
where
talk
you can
about
get inside it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because the gravity...
But it captured my imagination, which was fun.
Right. Like, it does feel from what we know of science that, like, there is a little too much gravity on their ship than there should be.
Too much or too little?
Too little. I mean too much.
But when he wakes up, he jumps and he goes, like, super high.
Yeah, but I still feel like that's too much. He can
gravity?
walk. Wait, what am I saying?
Gravity is what's holding you down. I'm just not
like in a
understanding.
spaceship, there's like still no gravity.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like he shouldn't be coming down at all.
I understand. I thought you meant for what was ideal.
No.
I was like, Nate,
I just meant like
we have more gravity on Earth than what is on that ship.
Too much gravity.
I know we can't fly. I know you want to just fly.
I do. But I like how... Have you played Mario Galaxy?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Nate's flabbergasted.
How this ship works, it takes a while for Ransom to figure it out, but basically he realizes he's on a mini sphere. And like when he looks over a horizon, but that's just he walks a little bit and then he can see a door over the horizon. And that's how like Mario Galaxy is. There's like these tiny little planets and things that you like walk on
that
and around.
Also is kind of like
such.
Outer Wilds, which is probably why I thought that, because it has its own solar system, but the way it's able to do that is they're just small little planets.
They're just tiny little planets.
Yeah. Like they're bigger than Mario Galaxy planets.
Sure.
There's things hidden on them. They go deeper, but it is just you're walking around this small planet.
Yeah. It's very like it works well of like, what is this? This is a weird structure before you kind of figure
But
out
then it
what's
does
going
make
on.
sense. And it's like, oh, that's
Right.
a cool, interesting concept.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. What did you think of the villains?
I'm intrigued by them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see like what their interactions with the other planet has been.
Yeah.
I don't remember the names. There's the mean one and the slimy one. And the mean one was like, I'm doing this for altruistic reasons.
Yes.
And so I'm very interested to see what those altruistic reasons are.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Weston and Divine. Weston's the mean one for you could call it altruistic reasons,
Yeah.
and Divine is the
What
slimy
he's
one.
saying is altruistic,
Yes.
at least.
Yes.
We shall see if they are or are not.
Yes.
Nate has already seen, but I will see soon.
Well, I was like, can I say too much of what's already been said?
All he said is like, if you knew why I was doing this, you would leap at the chance.
Yes.
To do it, to be or do what I'm bringing you to be or do. So
Okay, I feel like it's not that much of a spoiler. He's basically a very cynical Elon Musk.
okay,
And that he just wants humanity to spread
okay,
and conquer and spread.
Okay,
And turns out he doesn't even care if humanity has to change its form along that way. He just cares about the end of keeping the species
Okay,
going,
sure.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people, including like Elon Musk, is like, yes, we have to become a multi-planetary creatures. I'm like, I don't know why. Christ is coming back to this planet. I think it's going to be around.
This is kind of the planet, guys.
And it's like Mars doesn't seem better.
Right. There's one planet that's maybe similar to us that doesn't have life.
Right.
Yeah. So
Seems like just a bunch of trouble.
yeah, I don't think it's worth it, Elon.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to like go to another
Sure,
planet, but it's
yeah.
like, I think this is still our
What's
home.
going to happen? We're just going to build a resort that only rich people get to go to, anyways.
Right.
And then we'll talk until we're 80 about it'd be cool to go to Mars, and then we'll die not having gotten to go to Mars.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but we'll see lots of selfie videos of people on Mars.
That's
Dude,
true.
are we going to see that?
I don't know.
We might see that.
We might.
Um,
Have you seen any of the Artemis 2 crew and that really
Yeah.
awesome astronaut who's just out there talking about God all the time?
Yeah.
Freaking love that guy.
Yeah.
He's so cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
Very sweet. Yeah. Yeah, I think a quote from him I saw was, there are no atheists in foxholes. There also aren't any on top that are strapped to a rocket.
I saw that, and then I was curious. But are there actually atheists in your crew? I was like, are all of your crew Christians? Are you speaking from experience? Because it would be kind of funny if he said that, and then like the person piloting the rocket with him is like, was just like, dude. I just think it'd be funny.
I don't. But it's interesting because like the Artemis 2 is not the slingshot around the
Right.
moon, but that was also done right before the Apollo 11 mission.
Yeah.
And have you seen the clip of they're broadcasting to Earth, this crew at this like Christmas or Christmas Eve, and they have like the attention of the whole world, and like what are they going to say? And they like bring out Genesis 1, and it is so beautiful as they're like looking at the good earth, as they call it. It's like, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and the earth was formless and void, and it's just hearing them talk while like looking at this, it's just something about it is so stirring.
There's a video of Neil deGrasse Tyson telling that story.
Yeah.
And he is not a Christian. He's an atheist.
Right.
But he's telling this story, and he gets so choked up, he like can't keep talking.
Really?
Like he's talking and he's pretentious, and he's like,
Yeah.
he's like they're looking at the planet, and he's next to the Bible. That's what it is that they had, and it's like in a museum, and so he's there next to the Bible, and he's like, this is the Bible they had on the Apollo 11 mission, and this book moves me so much, and I don't count myself as a believer, but they get here and see something that nobody else has seen, and the only thing that they think is worthy to be said are the words from this book. And it's beautiful. I highly recommend looking up that video.
Yeah, it's kind of hard
It's
to
great.
imagine like another book having that kind of resonance for a moment like
I
that.
think so. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I had some. We talked about the villains
Yes.
a little bit, Divine and Weston, and it occurred to me how they are an interesting like opposite of each other while both being villainous.
Yeah.
I wrote down a note here. Like Lewis's villains are the worst people he can think of, intellectuals. Oops. Divine is the one that Ransom knows from back
Yeah.
at school. Divine cynically leverages the social elements of humanity to advance his position and personal wealth, whereas Weston, on the other hand, cares nothing about the personal nature of humanity for his own advancement or for like the good or comfort of any other individuals. He's very rude and just doesn't care about people. His care is so specifically for the survival and advancement of broad humanity that he doesn't care about what makes humans human or what they will become.
Well, and that was demonstrated in the line that immediately wanted me to punch him, which is in space when I don't remember the exact line, but he's talking about things that really matter or facts or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it is. And he's like, and by that I mean only science. I'm not talking about history, poetry, the arts, literature, any of that bunk. I'm like, you...
Yeah, we don't like him.
No.
It's interesting because what unites them as villains that both are devoid of love for individuals. Even though one can like schmooze people and say like the socially like acceptable thing and stuff, he just does it for himself. He doesn't care about the individual. And even though Weston wants to like preserve humanity, that means nothing if you don't have love for actual humans that you meet. And this contrasts Ransom, who gets into this whole adventure through the dutifully loving of individual strangers, of this woman and her son, just these individuals that he meets. And that really is like something I feel so interesting about God and how he set up like the Christian faith is that he really seems to care mostly about like people and individually relating to each other and him individually relating to us. I was talking with this about this with Ellie, and she said that this even comes out in like God's salvation plan, like how he like really like he had like such an individualistic love for like Israel, and then he spread that out to the Gentiles, but he still really loves Israel, and then like individual humans. He takes us individually, and it's such an interesting ethic that like comes up in stories where someone has to choose between saving many people that he doesn't know versus saving like the person he loves and care about. And you always want him to choose to do the right thing and save that person you love and know. And it's like, why do we think that? And why do we believe that? But that it just seems to resonate. So I think because if we didn't take that approach, we'd just be making all of these decisions like Weston does that isn't grounded with people, and that you can really hurt individuals along the way. And it's like we live within God's stage that has a future after Earth, but on this Earth we need to be making decisions that loves individuals. And it's like, and sometimes that means like more people will die, but that's not the end of the story. And God can work out all of that other stuff himself, but he's training us to be the kind of people that he wants us to be, who loves our neighbor.
Yes. Well, I feel like that pulls us back into like the local context too. We've talked about that before, but I think we're meant to live in a particular community. So I think it's a both end of like there's an individualistic level, and there's also a communal level of we are, especially in the kingdom of God, like we are a body, we are one. We're meant to live in a context where we're supporting and loving each other, and then we're also supporting and loving the world. And ultimately, we can't really do a lot for somebody in, the Middle East.
Right.
You and I can't. But we can do something for our neighbor,
Yeah.
for the person on the street corner who's begging,
Yeah.
for, the single mom who goes to church or that we meet
Right.
every day that we're getting coffee,
Right. Even though, like, the time that you spent raking the widow's lawn who goes to your church could be spent, like, earning $500 at your job, and then you send that overseas, and it goes towards a water mission, which saves the life
Right.
of 50 people and stuff. And people can be called to different things. And maybe that is what some people are called to. But I think, like you said, God wants us to be there for our neighbor.
It's an embodied love.
Yes.
This is something
Yes.
he's kind of working on me on, which maybe will be in the other episode, so maybe you'll be hearing repeat. But this idea of being okay, being inconvenienced, and slowing down, because it's more important for me to be embodied and present with somebody than it is for me to just achieve all of these things.
Yeah.
Right? Even if they're good things.
Right.
It would be better for somebody to have a long-term relationship, meaning human relationship, not romantic necessarily. I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know this. If these people are both married to other people. It's not romantic, and they're having a long-term friendship as neighbors. It would be better to have a long-term friendship with that neighbor, wherein God slowly uses you to reach them and connect them to His people, and show the love of Christ, and uses you as one tool that He uses to open their eyes to the truth of the gospel, then it would be for you to sustain a nonprofit that is doing work in Africa. I guess maybe better is not the word, but it feels more like it is the true calling of what we're supposed to do as the church.
Well, and if you want to get go ahead, continue what you're saying.
Well, I was going to say the people who are doing things in Africa should be embodied there in Africa, and certainly need our support to do that.
Right. There's the people who send, and we support by sending people with our finances. And
there's the people that support the people that are going over there by being embodied to them, to the people of Christ. And they're like, we're your home base and we are your support. We're in an embodied relationship with you. I think that embodied love is what separates Weston's view of loving a group versus Christ's view of loving a group.
Yeah.
Christ did die for the individual. He also died for the whole church.
Yeah.
But it was a deep embodied love for His family, for that He was adopting, for His citizens. I think it is that embodied, willing to be inconvenienced, real love, as opposed to a sort of theoretical love for this concept that treats a group more like a concept than real people.
Yes, and that is the problem with collectivism, communism, and things like that. I read a biography on Lewis's wife, who was a communist back in her young days, and it talked about how she loved humanity but didn't love humans.
Right. I think there can be two shortcomings here of the collectivist versus the individualist. There's the collectivist could get too broad and abstract in that way, where you're not really looking at the people. The individualist likely could get so individualist that it is solely about me and our each person's free will, to the detriment of everybody else, and so there has to be something in the middle that says, I am seeing the whole picture, and I'm seeing that whole picture in color instead of in black and white.
And sometimes, depending on your position, you have to take a different focus, as it were. Like, I think the government can't always do the kind of loving that individuals can do. They have to have to think about things a little different sometimes. And And that's okay. And it makes me think about, like you said, the embodied thing and how different things are within the body. God did make us as a body, noses and feet and hands. And that's why I feel okay with like people having focuses and passions that are different than others, that maybe pragmatically isn't doing as much good.
Right.
But it's like, but God has a body to get all kinds of good done. All kinds. And
it's up to him to keep that whole, it's the Daredevil image. It's the Daredevil analogy, everybody. I'm bringing it back to Daredevil.
Okay.
Where the end of season 3, when he talks about, because you've all seen season 3.
Of
no,
course.
But there was like 4 episodes in a row where I was talking about it. God's plan is like a tapestry, but we can only see it from the back.
Yeah.
And it's not until we reach eternity where we see it all the way around. To modify it slightly, God's plan is like a tapestry, and we only see the part of the tapestry that we're in. Like Aslan in Horse and His Boy. You know your story. You don't know other people's story. We shouldn't just focus in on the thread. Likewise, we shouldn't just focus in on the idea of the completed part of our tapestry, our completed image, as you will. But we should be seeing that whole thing working together and caring for all the pieces of that God's called us to.
Yes, it makes you think of a conversation I had with my mom today. We were talking about her grandma, my mom's grandma, who's like one of the biggest regrets of a person I've never met. My mom was saying today, like she thinks like so much of her was like made by her grandma. And the interesting thing is her grandma's was very like Dutch. And back in that time, at least in the Dutch culture, there wasn't a lot of hugging. There wasn't much of saying the words, I love you.
Yeah.
But my mom knew so well how her grandma loved her. And like, even as she talks about it, she's like, I don't know exactly how to say like how I knew that. Cause like, there wasn't the words, there wasn't the affection, like the physical affection. I'm like, did she smile at you? Oh yes. But like my mom had like rough teen years where she was making not good decisions, and her grandparents didn't really like talk her to do the right thing, but the love was always there. And my mom eventually came back to that world of love and to Christ. And now like my mom's goal is to like love her grandchildren like her grandma loved her. And it's like one of a lady who's just being her loving self to her grandchild without doing overly overt things. The compound effect of that is massive. And so just I love that people get to do the things that God made them to do, and it can matter even if you don't know how it's going to matter. Like I really like believe in this organization of Artists of the Way, and it's like it's about art. And it's like we have to ask people for money to support us, people who could be spending their money on other things of missions and such like that. But it's like, I think this matters too. And we don't know all the effects that it's going to have, you know?
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's really cool. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what Ransom is made for and what his act of love will
it's made for so much.
Compound and mean.
It's made for so much. I was just knowing where these books go.
Yeah.
And that this is the start, and just the little decisions, him stopping to talk with that lady changes worlds quite literally.
Yeah.
As these books unfold.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm excited for you to see it. It's really rich. And
Sweet.
Yeah.
If you guys have any thoughts now that you've heard our brilliant thoughts on the first 4 chapters, or if you were behind and are now reading them, let us know in the comments down below in the Patreon. We'll be sure to respond to them on getting Nate.
You should like share the link to how you're listening to it if people want to do it that way.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm listening to mine is on Spotify.
Okay.
So if you have Spotify, you can listen to it, but you can probably find it. I'm sure it's on Audible as well.
I think that there used to be a YouTube, like just audiobook YouTube version that's very good.
Yeah, there are several audiobooks out there, so you can look up a couple. I'll try and add
In the library.
a couple in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Well, thank you guys for joining us in our
Yeah.
little book nook, and we will see you guys in a couple weeks for the next 4 chapters.
See you then.